What happens when a 67-year-old Vietnam veteran gets a parking ticket for sleeping in his car because he's been homeless for 8 months? This is about what happens when a community sees a veteran who served his country now living in a 1998 Honda Civic and decides that's not acceptable. It's a Tuesday morning in Providence Municipal Court. Judge Frank Caprio reviews his docket. One case file catches his attention. Defendant Michael Torres, 67 years old. Charged parking violation, sleeping in vehicle in prohibited zone, address, no fixed address. Vehicle 1998 Honda Civic. The arresting officer added a handwritten note. Your Honor, Mr. Torres is a Vietnam veteran, Purple Heart recipient. He's been living in this car for months. He wasn't causing trouble. He was just trying to sleep. At 10:15 a.m., Michael Torres walks into the courtroom wearing clean but old clothes, button-down shirt tucked into khaki pants. His gray hair is neatly combed. He carries himself with dignity despite the slight limp from Vietnam. What strikes Judge Caprio most is Michael's eyes, deeply tired but still alert. This is a man who hasn't given up. Michael approaches alone. No attorney, no family. Mr. Torres, Judge Caprio begins gently. You were cited for sleeping in your vehicle in a prohibited parking zone. Is that correct? Michael stands. Yes, Your Honor, I understand the citation. I was parked where I shouldn't have been. His voice is steady, respectful. No anger, no resentment, just acceptance. Mr. Torres, the officer's report indicates you were sleeping in your car. Can you tell me about your situation? Michael hesitates, pride battling honesty. Finally, he speaks. Your Honor, I've been living in my car for about 8 months. I lost my apartment when the factory where I worked for 40 years shut down. My pension wasn't enough to cover rent. After prices went up, I'm prepared to pay the fine. The courtroom goes quiet. Mr. Torres, before we discuss the parking violation, I'd like to know about you. The officer noted, you're a veteran. Michael straightens. Yes, Your Honor. I served in the United States Marine Corps from 1968 to 1971. 2 tours in Vietnam. I was wounded in Da Nang in 1970. Took shrapnel in my left leg. I was awarded the Purple Heart. After Vietnam, I came home to Providence. Got a job at Anderson Manufacturing in 1972. Worked there 40 years. It closed 3 years ago. I was 64 when I got laid off. I tried finding other work, but at my age, with my leg injury, nobody wanted to hire me. Michael's voice becomes quieter. Rent kept going up. I was paying $850 a month. Last year, new owners raised it to $14. My pension is $2,100 a month. 8 months ago, I was evicted. I've been living in my car. Several people in the gallery are crying quietly. Mr. Torres, where do you park at night? I try different places, Your Honor. Sometimes near the 24-hour grocery, sometimes behind the Veterans Center. The night I got the ticket, I was behind the public library. How do you manage daily needs? I wake up every morning at 5:30. I drive to McDonald's on Westminster Street. They have a bathroom. I wash up, shave, brush my teeth. I buy a coffee, so I'm a paying customer. Then I spend the day looking for work. I check job boards, go to businesses, fill out applications at the library. He continues, I eat 1 meal a day at the Veterans Center when they have free dinners. Other days, bread and peanut butter from the dollar store. In the evening, I park somewhere, read books from the library until dark. Then I try to sleep. My leg hurts from Vietnam, especially in winter, but I manage. You're still looking for work? Yes, Your Honor. Every single day I've applied to 247 jobs in 8 months. I keep a list: retail, warehouses, security, janitorial. I've had 3 interviews. They said they'd call back. They never did. His voice wavers. I know I'm 67. I know I limp, but I'm willing to work. I show up on time. I'm reliable. I just need someone to give me a chance. Do you have family who can help? My wife, Martha, passed 6 years ago from cancer. We never had children. My brother lives in California, but he's struggling himself. I don't want to be a burden. Judge Caprio looks at this 67-year-old veteran, a man who served his country, worked 40 years at the same factory, lost his wife, lost his job, lost his home, and is now living in a 26-year-old Honda Civic while still maintaining his dignity and actively looking for work every single day. Mr. Torres, let me make sure I understand your situation. You're a Purple Heart recipient who served 2 tours in Vietnam. You worked at the same factory for 40 years. You lost your job when the factory closed. You lost your apartment when you couldn't afford rising rent. You've been living in your car for 8 months. And despite all of this, you wake up every morning at 5:30, wash up at McDonald's, spend your days looking for work, and try to maintain your dignity through circumstances that would break most people. Michael nods. Yes, Your Honor, I know it's not much, but I'm doing my best. Mr. Durr, it's not much. What you're doing takes extraordinary strength. Judge Caprio pauses, looking at the parking citation. This ticket carries a fine of $75. Can you afford to pay that? Michael's face shows the calculation happening in his head. Your Honor, I have $43 in my checking account right now. I could pay some of it now and maybe set up a payment plan for the rest. I don't get my pension until the first of the month. $75. For most people in this courtroom, that's dinner at a nice restaurant. For Michael Torres, it's more than half of everything he has in the world. Judge Caprio makes a decision. Mr. Torres, I'm dismissing the citation. You will pay nothing. Michael looks shocked. Your Honor, I don't want charity. I broke the law. I should pay. Mr. Torres, you didn't break any law that matters. You were trying to sleep. You weren't hurting anyone. You weren't causing trouble. You were simply existing in a space where bureaucracy says you shouldn't exist. I will not find a Purple Heart recipient for trying to sleep. Michael's eyes fill with tears, but he blinks them back. Thank you, Your Honor. That's very kind. I'm not done, Mr. Torres. Judge Caprio looks around the courtroom. Is there anyone from veterans organizations present today? 3 men in the gallery stand up. One is wearing a Vietnam Veterans of America jacket. Another has a VFW cap. The third is from the Providence Veterans Center. Gentlemen, Judge Caprio says this is Marine Corps veteran Michael Torres, Purple Heart recipient, 2 tours in Vietnam. He's been living in his car for 8 months. He needs help. Can your organizations assist him? The man from the Vietnam Veterans of America steps forward immediately. Your Honor, we absolutely can. Mr. Torres, we have emergency housing assistance funds. We can help. The Veterans Center representative speaks up. Mr. Torres, we have a job placement program specifically for veterans. I'd like to talk with you after this hearing. Judge Caprio isn't finished. He looks at the general courtroom audience. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Purple Heart recipient who served this country in Vietnam, worked 40 years at the same job, and is now sleeping in a 26-year-old car while looking for work every single day. This is not acceptable. This is not how America should treat its veterans. A woman in the gallery stands up. Your Honor, I own a small accounting firm here in Providence. Mr. Torres, if you're willing, I'd like to offer you a position. It's administrative work, answering phones, filing, basic office tasks. It's not glamorous, but it's honest work, and you'd be inside, not on your feet all day. Michael turns around, shocked. Ma'am, I don't have accounting experience. You don't need it for this position. You need to be reliable, honest, and willing to work. You've proven all 3 just by being here today. The job pays $16 an hour, 40 hours a week. Can you start Monday? Michael can barely speak. Yes. Yes, ma'am, thank you. Another man stands. Your Honor, I'm David Chen. I manage the Providence Arms Apartments on the east side. We have a studio apartment that just became available. Mr. Torres, if you're interested, I can offer it to you at a reduced rate, $650 a month, utilities included. First month is free to help you get on your feet. The courtroom is transformed from a judicial proceeding into a community mobilization. A woman raises her hand. I work at the VA Medical Center. Mr. Torres, have you been receiving your VA benefits with your Purple Heart and service-connected injury? You should be getting disability compensation in addition to your pension. Michael shakes his head. I applied years ago, but the paperwork was so complicated and I got denied. I didn't know how to appeal. Sir, I can help you with that. The VA has streamlined the process. With your documentation, you should qualify for at least $400 a month in disability compensation, possibly more. That's in addition to your pension. Judge Caprio watches this unfold with visible emotion. Mr. Torres, it seems the community of Providence would like to help one of its veterans. Michael is crying now, unable to hold back anymore. I don't know what to say. I've been trying so hard to do this alone. Judge Caprio's voice is gentle. Mr. Torres, you've been alone long enough. You served this country. You worked hard your entire life. You've maintained your dignity through circumstances that would crush most people. You don't have to do this alone anymore. The bailiff approaches Michael with a box of tissues. Michael wipes his eyes, trying to compose himself. Your Honor, I just thank you, all of you. I didn't come here expecting anything except to pay a fine. I thought I'd go back to my car tonight, the same way I left it this morning, but now he can't finish the sentence. Judge Caprio addresses the courtroom. This hearing is concluded. Mr. Torres, please speak with the veterans' representatives and these kind people who've offered assistance. Belief, please escort Mr. Torres to my chambers after he's finished. I'd like to speak with him privately. 20 minutes later, Michael sits in Judge Caprio's chambers. Mr. Torres, I've been a judge for over 30 years. Your case reminded me why I do this job. Not to punish people who are struggling, but to help when the system has failed them. Judge Caprio hands Michael an envelope, $500 from me personally. Use it for whatever you need, new clothes for your job, groceries, gas. When you're stable, help the next veteran who needs it. Michael takes the envelope with shaking hands. I will, Your Honor, I promise. The story spreads quickly. Local news covers it. Within 48 hours, the story goes viral. A GoFundMe is created. Goal, $5,000. Within 24 hours, $28,000 within a week. $63,000 within a week. $63,000 within a week. $63,000, I'm a Marine. See your fee, brother. No Marine should sleep in their car. 6 weeks later, Michael moves into his studio apartment. The veterans organizations furnished it with donated items. He's been working at the accounting firm for 5 weeks. His boss says he's the most reliable employee she's ever had. The VA benefits came through. Between his pension, disability compensation, and his new job, Michael has financial stability. He still drives his 1998 Honda Civic. It got me through the hardest months of my life. I'm not giving it up now. 3 months later, Michael returns to court. He looks different, healthier, brighter, standing straighter. Your Honor, I'm doing well, really well. That day in your courtroom changed my life. I was at the end of my rope, but you dismissed that ticket. The community helped. Now I have an apartment, a job, enough money for food and rent and savings. For the first time in a year, I sleep in a real bed. His voice becomes emotional. You gave me back my dignity. You showed me people still care about veterans, that I still matter. Michael pulls out a photograph from Vietnam, 1970. Right before I got wounded. That's me and my squad outside Dong. I want you to have this, Your Honor, to remember that veterans are real people. We were young once. We served. We came home. Sometimes we need help. You helped me when I needed it most. Michael has one more thing. I've set aside $10,000 to create a fund for other homeless veterans in Providence. I'm working with veterans organizations to help people in situations like I was in. I want to help the next veteran living in their car. That's wonderful, Mr. Torres. It's because of you, Your Honor. You showed me one person can make a difference. I'm just paying forward what you started. 6 months later, Michael is honored by the Vietnam Veterans of America as Veteran of the Year for his advocacy work helping homeless veterans. When Michael accepts his award, his speech brings the room to tears. 6 months ago, I was living in my 1998 Honda Civic. I was 67, sleeping in parking lots, washing up in McDonald's bathrooms. I got a parking ticket and thought it would just be one more problem I couldn't solve. He looks at Judge Caprio, but then I met Judge Frank Caprio. He didn't see a homeless man who broke parking rules. He saw a veteran who needed help because he chose compassion over punishment. My entire life changed. Your Honor, you didn't just dismiss a parking ticket. You reminded a community that we're supposed to take care of our veterans. That showing up and trying your best every single day, even when you're living in your car, means something. The room erupts in applause. Judge Caprio stands and the two men embrace. Judge Caprio keeps Michael's Vietnam photograph on his desk. Every time he sees it, he remembers that behind every case file, there's a human being with dignity and worth. Michael still works at that accounting firm. He still lives in that studio apartment. He still drives that 1998 Honda Civic, but he's not homeless anymore. He's not alone anymore. He's not invisible anymore. He's a Purple Heart recipient, a 40-year factory worker, a community advocate, and a reminder that we're supposed to take care of the people who took care of us.